Within this video, we're going to be walking through the UEFN Virtual Exhibit Importing Audio Student Guide. Specifically, we're going to be creating audio here inside of the computer, adding it to the UEFN engine, then setting it up in game so that the player can press a button and actually hear said audio. So to begin this process, let's go ahead and open up Windows and look for the sound recorder. This application comes by default, so let's go ahead and just click on this to open it up. Now, before we actually begin recording, we need to double check that all of our hardware, specifically our microphones, are actually set up correctly. Now, in the bottom left-hand corner of the interface, you will find a little spot where we can check that. So go ahead and click on this little section right here, and go ahead and choose whatever microphone you're going to be using for the recording. Another thing we want to check is what format we're actually going to be saving all of our files in. And we can check that up here in the top right-hand corner of the interface. So the little ellipses, the little dot that you see right here, click on that, and then come down here and open up the settings. Inside of here, we're actually going to look at our recording format. So this right here, we'll open this one up. And we want to use the wave lossless that we see down here at the bottom. This is going to give us the best quality, although the files might be a little bit larger. So just kind of keep that in mind. Once that radial button has been set, go ahead and just click the back button up here in the top left-hand corner. We're now ready to start recording, and we can go ahead and use this button right down here. So go ahead and press it. Go ahead and speak whatever it is that you want or record whatever sound effects. And once you're finished, go ahead and hit the stop button. So let's go ahead and just do that right now so you have an example. Though I was never really good at statistics, one thing I did find out is that 100% of the time, if your parents didn't have children, you will not have children either. Now, to make sure that these recordings are really easy to find inside of the engine, we're going to go ahead and make sure that they're named accordingly. So you can go ahead and right-click on these and come down and go ahead and say rename and give it a name that's appropriate. Our next step is to figure out where this was actually saved. And this is actually really easy to do. Again, just go ahead and right-click on one of these files over here and go ahead and choose Show in Folder. Now from here, we're just going to go ahead and copy this information right here. So just select it, hit Control-C to copy it, and we're going to then paste it when we get over to the engine. So now let's go ahead and move over to UEFN. And before we actually bring that audio file in, let's make sure we have a nice clean place to keep it. So let's open up the content drawer. Let's just hold Control and hit the space bar. And in here, let's go ahead and create a new folder. Go ahead and right click in a blank space. Go ahead and choose a new folder. And we'll go ahead and name this new folder Audio. Then go ahead and just double click on the audio folder to open it up, because this is where we're going to keep all of our audio files. Go ahead and right click in here and then come up here to where it says Import. And this is where we're going to paste that information in. We'll go ahead and just click up here in this top bar and then just hit Control-V to paste that in. Press Enter. And now we're right where we need to be to get our audio files. So go ahead and select this one and then click the Open button down here. Open up our content drawer again, and you can see the sound file that you just created. Now before we move on, let's make sure that we're actually saving everything that we've just done, just in case it crashes. So I'm going to go here to File, come down here and make sure that we choose Save All. Our next task is to go ahead and add in the button as well as the audio player so that the player can actually interact with them. So down here inside of our content drawer, we'll go ahead and open that up, and I'm going to go into our Fortnite section right here. And inside of here, I'm going to go ahead and open up the devices folder. So just double click on this one. Let's go ahead and grab the audio one first. And if I type in the word audio into the search, we can go ahead and find this one right here. So I'll go ahead and click and drag this into our world. And I'm going to go ahead and get really close to it. Just press the F key to zoom in on and just move it up just a little bit. And with it in place, let's go ahead and add in the audio that we've just created. So over here in the details panel with this selected, you can actually see that we have an audio section right here. So the little drop down that you see right here, we're going to go ahead and click on that. And we're going to look for our audio. And we just need to go ahead and type in the actual name of the audio file that we had. So if I type in mine, you can see that I can go ahead and just select that. There we go. And now this will actually play the audio that we had created. The next thing that we want is an actual button for the player to work with. So again, let's go back into our content drawer, and this time let's go ahead and search for the word button. And in this case, we're going to go ahead and use this button right here. I'm just click and drag and put this in here, and I'm going to go ahead and rotate this just so it's facing forward. Set it right about there. Now, this is where things get really interesting, because we're going to actually start connecting these two devices. So to do this, we do want to make sure that we have the actual audio device selected, the little speaker. And I'm going to go ahead and just scroll down to the very bottom of this, and you'll see that we have a little section down here that says User Options. Specifically, what we're looking for is this play right here. And what we need to do is click on this little tiny button right here, this little guy with a little circle with a plus mark in it. What we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, this device that we're going to go ahead and choose with this little picker right here, this little guy, is going to be this button. And when this button is actually interacted with, so on interact, we'll go ahead and choose this. We're going to go ahead and play the information inside of that audio. So when this button is actually pressed, we're going to go ahead and tell this specific speaker to play the audio that we just added to it. So with all of that hooked up, go ahead and click on the launch session, or go ahead and push changes if you happen to be already playing your game. And most likely, it's going to ask you to save everything, which is a good thing. So go ahead and just say save all or save selected. Now that the game's actually loaded, let's go ahead and test this. Now I'm going to go ahead and press the E button, and it's going to be really quiet. Though I was never really good at statistics, one thing I did find out is that 100% of the time, if your parents didn't have children, you will not have children either. So let's go ahead and troubleshoot this. First off, let's go ahead and check everything inside of Fortnite because we're already here. I'm going to hit escape, and down here inside of our settings, we're going to go ahead and open this up and start playing with the specific audio. So up here above, we'll go to settings. And inside of here, we want to go over to this tab right here for our audio and make sure that the main volume is all the way turned up, as well as any of the others that you're going to be using. So if that's all good and it's still quiet, what we need to do is we need to go back into UEFN. So I'm going to go ahead and quit the game here. And here, what I need to do is with this selected, what I'm looking for under the user options is the volume. And I can actually turn this up quite a bit. Now 1 is going to be its default, so I would highly suggest starting here, and 4 is as high as it will go, and that will be rather loud, so we'll take a little bit of play to try and get this to work. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and just set this to 3, and then I'm going to go ahead and start the game again. And then if we go back to the actual Fortnite here, it should be able to jump over, and now it should be a little louder. Though I was never really good at statistics, one thing I did find out is that 100% of the time, if your parents didn't have children, you will not have children either. So there we have it. Now you understand how to go ahead and record audio on Windows, and then take that audio, put it inside of the game engine, go ahead and hook that audio up to a speaker, an audio device, and have that audio device actually play when a button is pressed here inside of the game. The last thing that we went ahead and troubleshot was the audio if it was too quiet, so you can actually play with that volume setting just to turn it up or turn it down as needed.